What's going on, everybody? Thank you guys so much for tuning in for another episode. This episode 303, we have none other than Mike Hinman, owner of WCPPL and USXBL, and obviously just a longtime paintball legend, one of the most real individuals that we ever have on the show. People love all of his content, all of his episodes, and he's going to be bringing you guys a podcast of his own pretty soon. So make sure you guys listen all the way through so you can get the details on that. All right, without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication.
And the crowd starts chanting Harman.
Great shot by all the guys, though. Tyler Harman saved that game.
He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. We got episode 303 with the man himself, Mr. Mike Hinman, the Hinge Master, the Maestro. How you doing, Mikey?
Good, brother. How you guys doing today?
Excellent. Yeah, just been waiting to hear the Unhinged podcast get released. But it seems like we got to sneak you in one more time on PTG before you launch.
Well, this PTG is home for me, so I'll always be here. Anytime you guys need a third wheel, you fucking holler at your boy. I'll be up bright and early here in California.
My man.
Getting out to you guys.
And you've been working your ass off, man. We were just kind of talking about that behind the scenes before we went live, but you're running, obviously, the USXBL. You got WC coming up right now. You're running Nightball. So we appreciate it. It's Mondays with Mike right now, and we're grateful to have you here, bro.
Always grateful to be here, man. Yeah, I mean, paintball's busy, but I think for all of us that love the game and are lifers like we are, can never wear enough hats, right? I just wish we had more weekends. So it's been good, man. Yeah. I mean, USXBL, we're seeing a ton of growth in Texas, so we're happy with that. WC is still the second largest events behind the NXL that there is in the world. So we're happy with that. And, just keeping paintball up and going and trying to, as a regional league, our focus is a little different than a lot of what, you guys talk about, like NXL level stuff. The NXL absolutely is, first off, hats off to Tom, right? Like, he's done a great job with it. It's easy to throw stones at that dude because he's driving the car. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But like, a lot of people could have drove that car, and I don't know if we'd be where we are now. And their business model is, the Mercedes BMW of our sport. You want to go to a really cool paintball event, there's nothing cooler than what those guys are doing. Trozen's doing a good job. All their staff, Fatty, the setup people, there's just a lot of really cool moving parts up there. But for us, where we're at the regional and local level, is this focus on getting new people into the game, right? Like, I feel like it's a multi-tiered situation that we deal with in our sport, that local fields got to get people in, and then regionally we have to get them competing. And then hopefully as teams graduate and move up the ladder, they end up at the NXL level, or they have a guy that can help financially pay for everything that they're all doing,
Yeah, it's imperative, man. We got to make sure we're cultivating the game from the ground up. And I think that obviously what you've done on the West Coast and now moving into Texas has been really pivotal for our sport. Nothing's promised to us here. We have obviously some cool things on the horizon, but we got to keep working hard every single day to make sure that this game stays afloat and that people are aware that there is paintball in your community, that there is a pathway for your life to be changed through this game. Because, we kind of talked about the numbers. I think it's 18,000 tournament players that we've got.
My last talks with APPA, those were North American. That includes Mexico, Canada, USA, individual players that are playing the game. And
that are currently playing
the game every season, right? We've known for since mid-2000s, that number's been pretty steady across the board, right? APPA tracks a lot of that. And, APPA tracks a ton, period, right? But our data point for actual tournament players is that many different players, unique IP players, are playing tournament competition paintball at some level in North America. So
how do we double or triple that number? Like, in your opinion,
I think
how
it's
do we
pretty
make
easy,
that?
right? The first step is value. There has to be value. Same with this show, same with everything we do in our lives. Why do we do it? Why do we go to these restaurants? Why do we go to the shows you went to yesterday, Marcelo? Because there's value in it, right? And there has to be value in our sport. And it's like, there's some things that no matter what we do, it's always going to be an expensive sport to play. This isn't soccer, right? This isn't softball. Like, it's an expensive sport to play. You could probably compare it closer to like golf and things like that are just racing cars that are very expensive, boats, very expensive sport to play. But there's got to be value in it. And I think an issue we run into in our sport, especially at the local and regional level, we go from like 20 years ago, which a lot of field owners, think about it, fields you guys go to, that we have the same field owners from back then that are still owning fields now. God bless them. But the days of just putting the open sign up and having 300 players show up at a, local field to play tournament style paintball, I think those days are probably behind us, right? You've got to be like, look at Fit out there in Texas, right? Like, they're running so many events every year, and it's not X ball. They're doing mech. You can go play with the Fit pro players, and if you don't have a team, you can get drafted onto one of their teams and get to rub shoulders with those dudes. I think there's a lot of really smart people in our sport that have taken some good steps. I don't think we have like a master blueprint of exactly how to do it, but there's got to be value and there's got to be opportunity. We see with the X ball format, there's a lot of really cool things about X ball. There's a couple downsides to X ball, and that's that it is expensive. We shoot a lot of paint. We don't get a lot of like mess around weekends, right? So when you go to practice, teams stay very clicked up, I think, right? Like, you guys all coach divisional teams. It's hard to get in, right? So if you're a guy or two showing up to the local field, it's hard to get on a team. So I think having a place like, we had a street ball day a couple weeks ago at SC Village, and the amount of old faces that showed up, like old school player from out here, Wedo, like, used to play way back in the day. He showed up with a War Games jersey on, right? Like, hasn't played.
He showed up to the last WCPPL. You saw him there, right?
Yeah, he showed up there, and then the next one was the street ball. But like, for him, he's like, I'm just looking to get to play with people. He's like, I knew if it was a street ball day, I could just jump on. The collision teams were all split up, just grabbing one or two randoms and making a line. And literally, after the street ball day, it was like, well, I wonder when I'm gonna see him again, because we all know Wedo out here. Like, he comes and goes, but he's always like, if we don't see him for a couple of years, it's time to put an all points bulletin out on that guy, like a missing persons, because he always floats back to paintball. The next Saturday, he was at the field again. And then Sunday, he was at the field again. So it was interesting to see, like, by getting opportunity. And there was other players, like other Southern California, local, Big Lou and guys like that he tore an Achilles 2 years ago. Hasn't been able to get back on a team. He's like, I just want to play on a paintball team. I just want an opportunity to play with somebody. I think there's a lot
You're so right, man. Even out here in Arizona, Mike, I would have hard time getting out and getting reps because I didn't have a squad, and everybody has a squad. So I had to build my own squad. It's called the Cactus Crew. And I started a whole chat, and I started handpicking players that I saw like didn't really have a squad. I was like, all right, you're with me, and I think that you're right. If there's a way that we can cultivate that naturally within parks, where it's like you have this street ball style that brings players together, and who knows, maybe they become a team and then they enter into the tournament, and it's a pathway that way. But we definitely got to get that ball rolling across the country for sure.
Well, and as much as we talk about like growing paintball, I think you almost got to like find out how to retain paintball. And what I mean by that is, I think there is, if there's 18,000 tournament players right now, I guarantee you there's a couple 100,000 that have played in the 2000s that could still physically do this sport. They just don't, there's issues, right? Like, there's referees, there's so many issues, but they have a hard time getting back in. And back at, like you're talking about, absolutely, like, that's great. Anytime the pro guys come out and jump on with people and, sorry to say this, humble themselves to just be part
it's
of
humbling.
the community. And you guys
I get the shit. I get the shit shot out of me by the locals. They like, or because I'm running with. We don't have my codes. We don't have none of the same awareness. So I'm like, it's all out war.
Absolutely. But like, there's other, and I'm not talking about you guys, but there's other guys that just won't. I mean, I travel around Texas, California, and there's local pro teams in those areas. How many of those pro guys do I see at their home field X Factor? And I'm not putting them down. Nobody comes out. It's those players. It's so important to see you guys. You know what I mean? And
that's what did it for us when we were kids. Seeing like you at the field, Mike. Seeing the Ironman guys, the Dynasty guys. Those guys were all accessible at the
getting
field.
To play with and against them, even if it's just a couple points, right? Like 2 points. That's something these dudes. I mean, how many low divisional guys tell you a story about this one time and whoever it is, right? Their story. It's just really important to have that community connection. And
well, we all have those stories too. Like I have a couple of them when Dynasty and the OG Ironman, like in the early 2000s, would come to Modesto. There were some moments that changed my life because I won a gunfight against one of them, and I was like, "Oh shit! I mean, if I can do that, maybe I can do this," you know. And it changed the trajectory of my life from that moment.
Yeah, no, and I think there's a lot of little things we can do, and then just at the local, it's obviously I'm really blessed to be at SC Village, which is one of the no matter what you think about paintball, is one of the biggest fields to have ever have done it, the most historic, and I'm the guy on the tournament side, so I am really my fingers on the pulse of it, but having an ability to open the door and have new players come out there, like Nightball's been a really interesting one because it's not team guys, like even Spica and all Marky and everybody was like, yeah, we want to come out, and I was like, well, we're doing fine without you. Like I don't need a bunch of pro dudes out here, because what I'm seeing is a lot of new players that want to play on an airball field. If they come out on Sunday, it's pretty intimidating, but they can come out at Nightball just like we used to do up at Adrenaline and out here, like they can jump on and just jump on teams, and everybody's in it. It's not just our field. Like, I think 4 fields in LA have lights. Combat had them first, Jungle had them, ASG has them, and we have them. But for those local communities to get to go, because also I don't think anybody's going to drive 5 hours to play Nightball through traffic in LA. You know what I mean? If you're within 30 minutes of there, they're probably going to show up and play some paintball. But being able to like have a place to play, it's interesting. Wednesday night Nightball, the faces that were there, and then like Saturday and Sunday, a lot of those faces showed up to the arenas, kind of jumping on their own little 3-man cliques, playing some airball, like wondering where they could get in, like on our number 1 field. We told them like, hey man, come on out. We'll sprinkle you guys in 3-on-3s and just work with these players. I think that's really important. But I think we're so used to the way things were that you could just put the open sign up. We're open from 8 to 2 and people would come play, be happy, pick up their trash, and they're out of there. I think now we're having to put more energy, money, momentum, whatever you want to call it, into keeping those players over here playing. And I'm not putting anybody down. It's just maybe some fields don't want to do that. Maybe they don't have the time or the staff to do that. But I think by having, again, just look at Fitz model. They've done a really good job of creating all these little 7-man, 5-man style events that people are really part of their community. JD had an interesting one about the black lights. He said with the black lights, you have a lot of more of the women have started to come out and play, because under the black lights, when you're out under the big sunlight, daytime, people are judging you, right? Like if you look goofy, if you got your tank on your shoulder, or you can't snap shoot clean, people are clowning on you. You know what I mean? But when you're out at like the black light stuff that JD does, he's like, nobody can really see you. You just see a yellow string of paint going out. Maybe you're wearing like a neon vest, but I'm not breaking down. God, Marcelo looks so bad on that snap. Like you can goofy it all day and nobody's really breaking you down. But JD said, he's like, under the black lights.
It's like being at the club,
Yeah.
You got the club lighting. 6 turns to a 9.
A lot of people, a lot of like his female players have really flourished under the black lights. So I think having more things like that, I know they do it giant.
It looks cool too.
But there's a lot of fields around America have some black lights. I just think there's a lot more things like that we can do to get people to cross over. And then at the same token, when we get them to cross over, being open-armed to keeping them in what we're doing.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we first have to get new people to play paintball. That's obviously the first step. Get people in the doors, whether it's going to businesses and marketing to birthday parties and getting new players, young, old, whatever, into the door. Then, like you said, Mike, retaining them, giving them a reason to want to continue to play multiple times a year, introduce them to the tournament side, and then give them maybe a pipe dream of like what could be if you really dedicate yourself to it. It's like a 3 or 4 step process, but yeah, the retention is one of the most important parts, because a lot of people do try paintball. A lot of people go out, whether it's a company outing once a year, a lot of people play paintball, but it's then getting them, at these local fields, like you said, like Fit, like what you guys are doing, ASG, all the fields that are doing well are doing all these things, and it's important that all the fields do that, because that's the user experience for, these paintball
another
players.
Interesting one from Geo is like, they obviously SC Village. I think one of the most important things at a lot of fields isn't really your name, it's your email, because they're tracking you through those emails, right? And what he said is, you know, like walk-on players at SC will play 3 or 4 times a year on average, right? Like that's just the number they know. But once they become like tournament side speedball guys, they'll play 23 times a year.
Wow.
So like the growth, getting guys, and also they realize some walk-ons on the front side of SC will be there, the old Hitman guys or Derek Obataki or guys like that.
Yeah.
Well, you know, the Sonny Lopez, like those guys will keep coming back, but a lot of those players phase out. So there is kind of a ladder they climb of, we've done this for a while, now we want to do that for a while. And it's really about the community, right? Like Tyler's talking about with his guys, it's that community. It gives us a reason to go do something on the weekends. Because I think all of us, you know, when we were in high school, it was pretty cool. We got to play sports. We had PE. Like I loved PE. You know what I mean? It was my favorite. I was actually good at that one class. But once we get into the real world, we don't have a lot of other physical forced interaction playing sports. Maybe we play softball. Maybe we do a bowling league. There's not a lot of other stuff. We're not out there playing tackle football at 40 years old because we die. You know what I mean? So, you know, like, there's not a lot of other sports that we can play that are like this. And I think a lot of people want to play a sport like this. We just have to give them a good reason to do it. And, you know, you don't have to run a tournament that's super expensive. It can be very, like we started the Scrim Fest thing where guys could just jump on a team, come play our event. There's no points for it. We're just doing 4 games of practice. But guys are like, we started seeing faces start showing up that like haven't played in a year. We just want to come play some tournament style paintball. So I think locally, to back to your original question, it's got to start with the local field level. Then there's got to be a connection with the regional, and then the regionals obviously up. Like for us, we just ran our last Texas event 2 weeks ago. We won't run another event until way after Texas to let the NXL come in, give teams the ability to financially recover from our event, play their event, and then, you know, a month and a half later, we have our final event. Working together with the NXL, because everybody says they want to work together, but then the local league has an event 3 weeks before the NXL, and a team's got to make a decision what we're doing, and they can't afford both. So that becomes difficult, you know? So I think working, and Tom's always been super open, you know, like a lot of people believe that like I'm his competition, and it's like, man, I'm just doing regional paintball. Like that's my thing, right? Like you don't try to take over the world. That's been another issue, like we've talked about in past episodes, that people kind of get outside of their lane and they get these like delusions of grandeur. And we can't, this sport is bigger than all of us. When Oliver left, the sport went on just fine. If I leave, it'll be just fine. If you guys leave, it'll be just fine. The sport's bigger than us. So everybody's got to do their part to help like lift this thing up. You know, it's not going to be one man. It's not going to be Tom. It's not going to be Mike or Tyler or anybody. It's going to be all of us fighting fights that people don't agree with and doing our way of doing it. And it's going to be a lot of hands on that stone to lift it up to where we would like it to be.
Yeah. Well, one thing's for damn sure. The sport is undeniably amazing. Anybody that plays it knows that. And it's just, we still are a young sport in all reality, you know, and we're figuring everything out. But I do know that the community is one of the best in the world. Sports communities, I mean, you can't really get any better than it. It's a truly a life-changing sport because of what you spoke on, Mike. It gives people a way to connect, and especially in this day and age where we're so connected, right, with the phones and the technology, but really I feel like the connection is lost a little bit. And this is a really amazing way to get outside, touch some grass, as they say, you know, go get shot up and run around, be a big ass kid and have some fun with people that, you know, maybe otherwise wouldn't be able to enjoy themselves in the same way. So in that regard, I think that the sport will always be around because people, we need a tribe, and the paintball community is one of the best tribes you could ever be a part of.
Absolutely. I mean, we all come from so many different walks of life, but when we go to the paintball field, we become one and the same, right? And you know, it's like our whole world that we live in now, we're so divided, right? Like you're on the left or you're on the right, or you're this or you're that, and race comes in, you know, the news, make sure we never forget about that. And reality, there's so much more that in common that we all have than we have not in common with one another. When we get to the paintball field, it really doesn't, I mean, you know, like Southern California has always been an interesting mix at the paintball field, right? We got like straight tatted up gangbangers that are like dudes that have sat on some real time and legends that all of us know, right? Guys on Bob's team. I remember showing up to my dynasty tryout at Bob's, and I'm driving by some of the dudes that we won't name that we're friends with, where you're like, yeah,
that's the guy.
He's real.
That's the
You know
guy.
what I mean? Guys in Texas are like, yeah, dudes on both sides of the border working. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but when we get to the paintball field, I've always said it's like the movie Big, right? Like we pull through that gate and like that, we just become kids again. All the bills and the baby mama drama or whatever you're dealing with in your life tends to sit at the gate. And we get to go play paintball and have fun, and we get back in the car, and as we pull back out the gate, it's like, fuck, reality's coming back. You know what I mean? But for that moment in time, we get to just have fun playing paintball. And you know, I think another one is like Fit, right? I use them a lot, and I have a big article I've been writing that they're kind of focused on about the blueprint changing. It's no longer about hiring $100,000 a year guys. That Fit blueprint has really changed the game. But there's a picture of JD and Sarah, right? Like when they won, like, and it's just a still picture of them in the pits, you know, embracing, kissing, and like there's that picture is pictures like that. Cam Blanco and his dad Matt when they won a D3 or D4 with Jackpot, whichever division it was, but like the picture of that father and his son, which all of us can relate to. Like I started with my dad. I know Tony, you know, is still here watching us. Like we did this together with our dads. Those stories are so important to our sport, and like we really as a sport need to put that out there more, right? Like because there's so many and guys like us now that have kids, and those guys' kids are starting to play, and you have these conversations with our friends where you're like, man, I never thought my kid was going to be playing paintball. You know what I mean? And again, it's such a unique, amazing sport. I don't know if we could, even guys like Maddie and Oliver and all of the brains that we have in our sport could ever put the right words on how amazing this sport is. So we know we have some gold here, right? Like this is really good stuff. It's just how do we promote it out to the masses? And you know, price becomes a big issue. You know, how can we do it at a cost-effective manner? WC USXBL, like we struggle to raise our entry fees $50 because I really don't like doing that. You know what I mean? But there is a cost factor to do it, right? So just weighing those out and trying to do the best thing for our people that we can. And especially, you know, all the media stuff, right? Going to ESPN is super cool. But even at a local level, just the pictures, right? Like the memories. Because every once in a while, like an old picture pops up. And you're just like one popped up a while back of like me, Bobcat at SC Village. I'm on a flip phone. And you're like, man, like there's so many of those cool memories that if we had all those would be really cool to see. You know what I mean? Or you guys know, a photographer will tag you in a picture of me and LaSoya hugging, you know what I mean? And you're like, and here we are 2 decades later, still doing it together. You know, he announces for us at USXBL. So just really focusing on like on our leagues, we've really tried to get more of the players interviews with them. Andrew Harris from Pole Position, Ryan Polito, they're out there interviewing guys all tournament just to try to get content to hear from those guys. Cause I think that's super important too.
You guys at the USXBL, do you have a webcast on all the fields like you do at the WC? Yeah, see, that's so awesome. Like, no matter what division you play, you can show up and, you know, these players sacrifice a lot of time away from family and friends, loved ones. They spend a lot of money on this game. So to be able to be like, hey, you guys can watch what I'm doing, what I've been making all this is like sacrifice for and all the time away, you can watch, even if I am Division 5, Division 4. I think that's really important and a really cool thing that you guys offer.
One of our things with that was Robert Jordan, which is our head of what we're doing out there. He does our main field webcast with LaSoya. He always talks about, he has a show on Tuesday mornings, I think, in Texas, like his own little podcast that he does, and just making people paintball famous. You know what I mean? Because
we got to shout that out. Do you know the name of it?
Man, I can find it really quick.
Yeah, let's get that so we can let the people know.
I think it's like After the Buzzer with Robert Jordan in Texas.
Awesome. There we go.
Again, really good dude. And he's got a good point. Just getting people's stories out there, right?
Yeah.
Like, super important to get that out there. So I think that's probably the next step for us to keep growing this.
Yeah. I mean, imagine if every local community had a show, you know, and alongside that show, each local community had a little webcast that highlighted their local players, you know, and little things like that go a long way to make mom happy and dad happy and be like, okay, I see you out here. I see you working. I see these moves you're making and the way that you hold yourself as a young man or a young woman out there with your team. I want to keep supporting this. You know, this is a really cool thing. little, and the ROI on that is massive. With, I know it is obviously expensive to get the equipment, but I think that the retention that we're talking about that you'll gain from that kind of stuff would be pretty substantial if we do
when
it
you
right.
talk about parents, there's one thing I know. My son's going through youth sports. Obviously, my older son played football for a while. There's no amount of money a parent won't spend to make their kid happy and to live the dream with them. And I mean, you look at like baseball, football, softball, soccer, and women, young men and women.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a multi-billion-dollar industry, parents behind their kids. So like I'm talking about those happy kids.
Yeah.
That goes for a long time. One good picture, right? Like true joy. Yeah. We'll keep doing this. So yeah, I think that's probably our first step to help grow this, and then everybody working together on the same page. And we all in this chat right here hear a lot of behind the scenes. We are behind the scenes, and everybody says grow and this and that, but man, sometimes, which is probably why at some point my podcast is now coming out, because I don't owe anything to anybody and I could give a fuck what anybody says about me, and I don't need to be politically correct for our industry. And sometimes you just hear like the hypocrisy in people's voices where you're like, man, I hear you saying this, but you're doing this. And I mean, like Marcelo's face right now says it all. It's so bad in our
It's
industry,
almost worse when you're behind the scenes, because you get really jaded, because exactly that. You see and and then you hear, you listen and you hear and you go, those two don't align. That doesn't match up.
Back in the PSP days, Lane Wright would invite me to all their year-end meetings for the PSP ownership, Vegas, wherever it was. And I don't know why. I mean, WC was going, but I wasn't that big of a force in the industry, right? Like I just wasn't. I was on Dynasty, but I wasn't that well known. And I sat there, and even Lane said that to me. Lane was like, "Someday they're all going to hate you too." And Lane's a good dude, right? Like Lane is a good dude. And I'm a younger man, and I'm like, there's no way. Like, I'm an honest dude. I'm not gonna BS you. This is what it is. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't fear you, so there's no need to lie. People lie because they're afraid of what will happen after. I'm just gonna tell you the truth, and we can go forward with it in any direction you want to handle it. And now I sit here 20 years later, and I'm like, fuck, he was right again. You know what I mean? Like, I have people questioning my integrity. Like, I'm gonna throw a game. Like, Marcel, you've coached at so many of my events. You know for a fact, if you know the rule book and the rules, you have a good fight. If you think because of friendships or politics, I'm going to pull a rule, you are out of your skull. You know what I mean? But it's just, it's an unfortunate part of our industry is the politics behind the scene. And what Marcelo is saying is spot on, because you show up to work in this industry and you wake up every morning with a really positive heart. You know what I mean? For myself, I can speak like, I know I'm a good dude, you know what I mean? But you get done with some of the discussions and you see the fakeness out there, and you're just like, oh my goodness. Like, and the tough part really is for all of us, you see the comments on it, and people have these people's backs, and you're like, if you knew who that person really was, and I'm sure it's like every industry, music industry, actors, sports, there's fake, there's real. But it's also tough as you're growing and building the sport to see people that are just not keeping it 100, you know what I mean? Like, so I struggle a little bit with that sometimes.
Hey, I think that we all do on that.
The amount of people, the amount of times, Mike, that I've had people on teams that I've coached, I'm not going to throw anyone under the bus, but they're like, come on, like, you're really close with Mike. Can't you just, can't we get away with this? I'm like, absolutely not. Even more so, like, there's no fucking chance I'll bring this to Mike, because I'll get slapped upside my head. Like, what do you even talk?
If you know me, like, I hold my own sons. I hold my sons to such a high standard. My oldest son works for one of my businesses. People are like, oh, your dad owns the place? And you're like, oh man, if you only knew. He was out at 9:30 last night dealing with a problem account we had. Oh, your girlfriend's? Cool, you can be home in 15. You need to go deal with this. 9:30 at night. I was in bed, saw the ring doorbell. He's home. Cool. If we're friends, I hold to an even higher standard.
Yeah, exactly.
Of course, that's right.
As it should be.
And that boy, that ain't a little guy anymore, dude. He's put on some muscle. That guy's getting big.
Again, remember we were talking about batting 100% about what our parents said, and they weren't wrong. Like when
I remember when he was
like, he's gonna grow to be bigger than you, and you're like, I'm a pretty big dude, like. I have a solid frame on me. And then like every time he's walking around the house, no
What
shirt
the
on, and
hell?
I grab him by like the traps, and I'm like, oh man, that'd be a handful. Keep him moving, you know what I mean?
Dude, I remember when he was born. It's just insane.
Yeah.
It's
He was
insane how
born 3 days before Chicago. We induced labor, so I
yeah.
didn't have to miss the event.
It's so crazy, man. And you got a
Crazy.
beautiful family and a beautiful life, Mike. And you work your
Likewise.
ass off. You know, you work your ass off for it. So I
I'm
want to talk
thankful, man. I appreciate that.
straight up. Yeah, night ball. When is the night balls popping off so people know when they can go to the Dub C arenas and play out there?
Wednesday and Friday nights is our focus right now. You know,
Okay.
Saturday nights we were going to do as well, but with so many players at our arenas playing during the daytime, Saturday, Sunday, it's hard to play Saturday and Saturday night or Saturday night and Sunday. So Wednesday and Friday, our guys are out there grinding away from 7 to 11 o'clock,
Okay.
getting after it. Phase
Nice.
one's up, our first set of white lights. We have another set of white lights coming from Fit that should be here in 2 or 3 weeks, I think. The next
Awesome.
shipment for them come in. So, and then from there, I'm sure we'll add black lights at some point here very shortly, and I think a lot of fields are going to have to do it, right? I think it's an industry-wide situation, and I'm surprised Core, HK, Valken, Defy, whoever it is that you buy your paintballs from, I'm surprised they haven't really got ahead of it more, because we're seeing really tough weather, right? Like you see, I always tell the story when I was coaching Diesel, was it 2 years ago? I was in the hotel room and they're like, this is like the 105th day of triple digit temps in Dallas. Like 100 degrees on turf is brutal.
Yeah.
Same with where you're at out in Arizona,
No.
Vegas, very
Yeah.
tough to play in those climates. Yet and I think the big one is
Yeah.
a lot of us now have AstroTurf. And it can be 105 out. That's one thing. But when that turf is resonating, and we've all seen the infrared guns, 140, 150, if it's got the rubber infill, like Dave's Field up there, first ever WC we had up there, we had referees' shoes. I'm not joking, melting. Like the turf was over 150. The glue was coming apart on their shoes. So I think, that's a lot of paintball fields have 52 weekends. Take out Mother's Day, Christmas, all the big ones out of it. You're down to low 40 weekends. If you live in a place like Houston, Texas, or, that whole region, the East Coast, where they see a lot more rain than we do out here on the West, like 40 weekends can turn into 20 real quick. And, you talk to my guys at Core, like Rathbun and guys I talk to, they track it crazy, right? Like they're tracking rain, they're tracking snow, like just weather you cannot play in. But by having those lights, I think a lot of fields are going to start going to that model at some point.
Totally
and now the
agree.
question is going to be, what distributors can bring it in at a low price to make it cost effective to put the lights up, right? Like Rafi's got them out there at Battle Zone. Other places in Vegas have some lights. I know there's a new one, Summerlin's coming on in Vegas. Travis Carl's got black lights, white lights up, but you're going to have it, because can you imagine Vegas on a 121 degree day?
I've been out there so many times. Yeah. I mean, they start at 6 a.m. and they try to finish by 11, because you can't play after that, really.
Yeah.
Totally. Same out here.
I think that's going to be another, and like the rainy places where if you can put your lights up and the electrical's waterproof, where you could run private groups on a Wednesday night. You know what I mean? You could run white, and if God forbid you have black lights too, you could run white light for 2 hours, then flip it over to black light. It would be a great experience for players to be able to play a 3 to 4 hour time bracket of private groups. So
without a doubt,
I really think that's like, it's not a big one to get over, but I think that's going to be like on this timeline of paintball, electric hoppers, electric guns. At some point, I think the lights are going to be another marker point on this timeline that we've been traveling on, how to make these businesses more profitable, because guys are already paying their rent for the month.
Yeah, exactly.
30 some days straight. If they only have 8 days of weekend, and then rain and whatever it is comes in, now you're down to 4 or 2. Good luck with it.
You can go back to you can go back to some of our very early episodes, and we were talking about exactly that. Paintball fields transitioning the model from just Saturday, Sunday to be able to be open during the week, offer, because, there have been fields that have kind of done this for a long time, and that is the model. Yeah. Well, you're already paying the rent, so why not try to be available 7 days a week? If you can, maybe 6, take
well,
one.
You got to scale it, right? You've got to get it where you're the most efficient. Like a paintball manufacturing company doesn't run 1 or 2 days. Those machines like GI, they just keep running 24 hours a day, right? That's the most effective and cost-effective way to run that situation. So for fields, like SC Village, we'll be out there working during the week, patching bunkers or whatever. And you see cars driving up to the front and hearing Titman's popping off. Like you're saying, they're running private groups 7 days a week, 365 out there.
You have to.
And I think that's going to be a big one,
Yeah, I think the black lights also are one of those, like when Fit brought out the black lights and all the video that you saw around those events, it looked so cool. To like the average person, maybe to somebody who's never played paintball before, you see that and you're like, oh shit, I want to go try that. It's almost like this laser tag kind of futuristic feel. It's a really alluring thing to non-paintball players, I think.
Totally. Well, the analytics on a lot of the clips, right? The view times, people are just constantly scrolling across clips. The view time on those is, from what I've heard, is substantially up, because you see it and you're like, man, that's cool. That's like tracer fire going out, right? Like it catches people's eyes and you tend to look at it longer. And I know, like Mark and Billy at Giant Texas run that field now. They've had it for a couple of weeks. They've been doing the black light. I was talking to Mark yesterday about it, and he said their numbers have been going up and up and up. They're 80, 100 people on their night ball, and people are spending the money, buying bright gear, jerseys to wear, the bright goggles and stuff like that. It's a whole nother facet, because another one in our sport right now is all of our friends that we talk to that are in industry struggling to move product.
Yeah.
Right. So having another facet that guys can come into and buy bright stuff, because you can't have somebody out there ninja'd out black top to bottom. You never see each other. It's a dark field. So you have to have like either a vest or something bright so they can see you move around. It's part of the whole thing you have to do. But if you have a custom jersey, a HK jersey or JT jersey or whoever your jersey company is, it's just more sales that in theory could be had. And people will spend the money, right? Like Hormesis really showed us, like when he dropped those headbands, not after, like direct from Hormesis, were $100 and some bucks. They sold out every time. People have $100 to spend. Yeah, when we get up to, like, I'm not knocking it. Paintball guns are expensive, $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 for a crazy custom gun. People may not have that. But when you're talking about a jersey, a Violence jersey, a JT mask, or whatever, whoever your sponsors are that are dropping something new, those price points can be met. So I think there's definitely a way there to be able to do that, And again,
like
community.
Like you said, Mike, it's about value, right? So like paintball guns haven't really made any big advancements in, technology wise in the last 5-8 years, right? So like there's not a massive incentive to drop $1,500,
and the rate of fire got capped, right? Like that definitely hurt that trajectory, right? Because there's a lot of smart dudes, right? Like all the companies, Jack Wood, Eclipse. We know Eclipse has a very good product. We know, Lux has great, and Hans behind them is the Lux platform's been great for a long time. The Method guys helped a ton with dye. I believe they're over at Lux now. Like there's a lot of really good engineers making guns, but when the guns got capped down to 10.5, I could get my DM3 or my DM4 from Aftershock. Honestly, maybe not Marcelo's old proto gun that he double stomped, but you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but
all
of your Timmy from Bob would shoot just as good if it could even get down to 10.5. You guys know you had the stuff in those things. But but everybody's gun can shoot it now. So
dude, they never I never got the good stuff. I was too young.
You were out of your skull.
Well, not until when I was a kid, there was none of that for me.
Everybody remember my boy Lasoya left-handed going like this, shooting a second. No, well, that's even not optical illusion, guys. That's like
Arnold Francisco. This guy, dude, he would dip into the corner, and I'm like, "Yo, Arnold, what is that thing?" Because it does not sound like my whip. That thing sounds crazy.
Funny Arnold story.
His guns
I fly to Oakland on a Saturday night from Shock.
He's the man,
the team.
Dude.
I go there to try out against you guys. Arnold's the last guy in the snake against like 5 of us on Dynasty. And he stands up out of the snake and he yells, "Scarface, motherfuckers," and starts running. And there's 5 of us. And it was like, I get 20 balls a second. Like he got hit with so many banana balls that it was like, and it was no big thing to him. And I'm like, I don't want any part of that. Like when I'm the last guy left, go ahead and tell us. Like he legit got hit 150 times that quick. Like all of us pumped him in the bright orange.
But he loves it. He loves it.
He loved it. And I'm like, man, this dude's not playing with a full deck.
No, and he would have, I've never seen somebody with more paintball welts on him. Like when he would take his shirt off after practice, legit, like you said, hundreds. I'm like, yo, this guy looks like a leopard.
Like 5-on-1, just let Bob call it. We're not like, it's already pretty rough ground out here. It wasn't turf. It wasn't really flat. There was rocks in the middle of the field.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, we played it. We played in some crazy terrains back in the day, and just, I mean, the amazing characters that we had in the paintball scene are some timeless memories that I'll never forget. Yeah, just crazy times. But back to everything that we're cooking up with Nightball. You got Dub C that's rolling up in I mean, less than 2 weeks. You're going to be out there putting on the event.
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
so everybody's getting ready for that.
SC Village.
I'm sure.
Yeah, Gio's done some more things out there. If you guys are out there, you'll see like we've opened the courtyard area is massive now. That one big haunted house looking thing that was always in the backdrop of the main field is gone. So there's just tons of open space up there.
Nice.
It's really, I mean, it's crazy, and I'm not throwing stones, but we have so much space there, right? Like everybody that's been there, it's a whole different world of paintball up there. Like there's
what do you guys have?
Airball fields.
Yeah,
there's guys that show up or guys that are leaving at the end of the day, and I'm like, hey man, like I'm not at registration the whole time, so I just didn't see you get your wristband, and they're like, yeah, we've been down on field 4, and you're like, I was up on field 1, like I don't even get to see everyone. It's so expansive out there. So it's good. We're excited for it. It's going to be warm, August. It's always tough running tournaments, right? Like you get into that July, August, September time, and it can be really warm out. So it's just, and you can't not have an event for 3 months, right? You got to have something in there. So it's kind of like event 3 is always like cross your fingers and let's hope it's not crazy scorching.
Yeah. It's brutal. But they work hard. Everyone's out there double scooping electrolytes and trying to get the water in.
When it's also tough, like if we ran a 3-day event like the NXLs where you could go 2-2 in playoffs, it wouldn't matter how hot it is. 2 games isn't that bad. But in the our league, guys, the Friday teams want to play Friday, Saturday, fly home Saturday. They're home with their like Matt Jim. It's like, man, I'm home Sunday morning having breakfast with my son. And that's totally understandable. But you're like, man, 2 days, no matter how you move that, there's going to be a lot of games
in a day.
Deep, you got to have a deep roster to do it.
Yeah. Even for the divisional guys, like I think the first event I was coaching protocol, we had to play the wild card. So I think we played 6 matches in one day. And that's a lot of games. Some of the guys were cooked, they were absolutely cooked, and it's shorter time in those matches in the lower divisions. But yeah, a lot of the guys were absolutely cooked.
And we put it to the players, like we can spread this over 3 days. It would be better for us to spread it over 3 days. It's a lot easier to run 3 days because if it's 2-2 in playoffs, you play the same amount of games on Friday scheduling as you would Saturday. Playoffs very easy to do, but by doing like if D4 or D5 has way more teams, suddenly Saturday and Sunday has a way bigger footprint than Friday does. You know what I mean? So we do it for the players, but you're like, man, it's like you said, it's a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. But, it's a lot of paintball. So, there's that too. And they should be excited about that.
Yeah, a lot of high level paintball at an affordable price, right? Like that's kind of our model.
100%.
High level reps, low cost. And we're seeing it in Texas a lot too, right? Like not that Texas has been a breeding ground for talent, but like the USXBL in particular, like the games are getting so competitive, Division 4, Division 3, like you're starting to see the cream rise to the top, and guys where you're like, yeah, these dudes are probably next year going to go D2 semi-pro and keep working their way up. So we're excited to see that.
Yeah.
It's always cool for me because I feel like, I'm Dana White at the UFC, right? Like I have a front row seat to watch really good paintball games.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of UFC, did you get a chance to watch that fight Saturday night? Max Holloway, Dustin Poirier?
I was sitting at the field.
Ooh. Oh, that's right.
I was sitting at the field. I was updating it like
live. I haven't really cared for the UFC. I used to watch UFC all the time. Haven't really cared for it in quite some time. But this one we had to watch. We obviously had Max Holloway on PTG not too long ago. He's a big paintball guy, and Dustin's like final fight. But it was exciting. Yeah, it was exciting. 100%.
I watched it after the fact. Like now that it's out, I watched it.
Great they were fight. Beating the fuck out of each other, man.
Yeah,
Max
crazy.
Tough human beings, you know what I mean? Like,
holy shit!
Truly, some gritty dudes. Like until you flip the switch and turn these lights out, I'm just gonna keep letting it rip.
Holy shit, man! They just I saw this funny meme, and it's just these 2 dudes, one slugging with his right, the other guy slugging with his left, and they're both connecting on the jaws, and just they were just whooping each other's ass. It was a great fight.
Such an amazing sport. Like I used to go to a lot of the UFC fights. I went to all the Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell fights. Like I was those
legendary.
Live. I've been to a lot of Anderson's fights, and always had really good seats for him. And like as a guy like we've been, that's played professional paintball or whatever, like sitting there and watching that, you're always inspired. You're like, man, not a lot of people I would want to be like. And I'm not saying I want to be like this guy or that guy, but to be one of those guys in that moment, like their walkouts are always cool, right? Because usually the lights drop completely out, the music keys up, you know what I mean? And I've always said like that energy at that moment
gives me the chills.
Who the fighter
spectacle, man,
is just awesome. You know what I mean? And those guys also, I've told the story like Tito Ortiz, right? Like the bad boy. I'd be at the club in Vegas afterwards, and one night we're seeing the lights go off, flashes all the time. Finally, look over, and it was his final fight. I think he fought Kung Lee. His face was mauled, like it was. It was bad. Look, it's the same thing. He stood. He knew it was his last fight. Stood toe to toe and just let the hands rip. But Tito Ortiz, for being this guy that this persona, right? He took pictures with everybody. And that night we're sitting in the VIP. Tommy O'Donnell's with me, one of my lifelong friends.
Tommy,
and Chuck Liddell walks by. And again, he's like the nice guy, right? He doesn't say what up. One of my boys' brothers is down there. We're standing on the couches looking down. And you went to dap him up. My brother's not the smartest dude, just a good human being. And Chuck just looked at him like he was a peasant. And I'm like, dick, whatever. You know what I mean? So later in the night, it's been a long night. Tommy's like the next star that walks through our thing and doesn't show respect. I'm going to hit him with $101 bills. Tommy's analysis. And I'm like, Tommy's my boy. He goes,
get him, Tommy.
Right. And I swear to you, who comes back through? Chuck Liddell. And it's cleared out. The club's definitely cleared out a lot. And he somebody went to dap him up and he wouldn't. And as this happens, you just see the $101 bills folded, hit him right in the tattoo in the side of the head. And
no way.
Dollars go everywhere and Chuck spins around. And there's probably 30 of us in there, right? And I mean, Marcelo's seen a lot of my friends, right? Like she's everybody. Like, Chuck's a bad dude, but 30 of us, you're gonna end up on TMZ for all the wrong reasons. And he just kept walking. But that night, I realized, and I've also seen Tito up in Huntington Beach at like Sushi on Fire, and people, he's there with his kids one time, business people, and people walk up for an autograph, and you're like, not the fucking time, you know what I mean? And Tito, for being the bad boy, would always stand up and sign the autograph. Right, where you're like, I could be like, hey, dude, just. But I think it's an interesting one about personas and like images, and especially in our sport, you know what I mean? People think people are one way when they're really a different way, and like that dude did a really good job of selling a persona that you hated, and people would tune in just to watch him lose. When in all reality, for my life experiences, Tito is honestly like one of the best dudes I ever were around and saw, and never said no to an autograph. And again, this dude's face was red. I'm talking like red. Like he got lumped up, like how you're talking, even like Max after the fight. And some Max got the best of it, but it's going to be slow for a week. He's not going to be sleeping on the side of his face for the next week or two. But just God bless him, you know what I mean? Like those dudes, that would be a cool gig. Like our sport's really cool. That's got to be a pretty cool gig, right?
Straight up.
It's a spectacle. They talk about making people care, and you're right. It's the personas, and that's what has kind of fueled the UFC. Is like you buy into these personalities and these individual fighters, and you want to see these certain matchups. You either want to watch Conor McGregor lose because you don't like him, or you want to watch him win because you do. Like they're really fucking captivating. They're accessible. And that's like a big part of our sport, which is cool. And Ty, I want to talk a little bit about the ESPN stuff coming up, because it seems like Brett and Mike are doing a great job.
They're working their asses off.
100% with Major League Paintball and the like media side of things, and kind of bringing that interview style that has worked for the UFC into paintball. But yeah,
it's crucial.
It's massive.
Yeah, and also the stories behind the scenes with a lot of our teams and guys. It's not like there's a lot of horrible rivalries, but building those rivalries, because no matter which side, whether I'm pro Marcelo or pro Tyler, and which means I hate the other guy because that's my guy. I think they do that right in the media side to help get people more emotionally involved in it. Right.
You have to. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah. Well, I've been, I think this quarterback show came out on Netflix a while ago, but I just recently got to finish it, and just listening to like Joe Burrow talk about how great of a job that all these platforms do at creating these crazy narratives and rivalries and all these storylines. And it's super important because obviously we're athletes and we want to be the best that we can and be champions. That's what I focus on every day. That's what Marcelo focuses on every day. We want to be champions. We want to be the best we can for our team. But on the flip side of that, this is entertainment. It is entertainment. And if we want to make sure that paintball is successful, we got to make sure it's entertaining and building out that package like we've talked about tirelessly on the show, making sure it's the best product we possibly can put out there for the people, to keep them not only engaged in what we're doing, but wanting to go out there and have a piece of it and go play and be a part of that kind of a community out at their local parks. So it's super important.
And the interesting part is going to be how they mix in, like this next one that they're filming is the 3-on-3. How much, 100% of the show. Is it 100% live action, or do we also cut back to these behind the story? Impact's playing it out, whoever you guys are playing, but like the lead up, that road to it, because that's so same with the UFC. If somebody gets knocked out early, you have like, whatever it is, a 20-minute block for 3 5-minute rounds or whatever you see when somebody gets knocked out all in the first round, all of a sudden you start showing all these clips of Max Holloway in Hawaii or wherever his camp was held, and this backstory. And even for myself, sometimes you're sitting there watching, you're like, man, this backstory is almost as cool as homie over here getting glass jawed in 38 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many backstories. So and again, that's where I think it's really important to give as much positivity to those dudes as possible, because they have a blank slate. I think there's probably a framework to how you could do it, but there's so much of a backstory that needs to be told, and how they can deliver that. I think it'll be interesting for all of us that love the game to see how it goes. Like, we all, if you ask 100 people how to do it, you're gonna have 100 different answers, and that's the human nature of us, right? So how they can best lay it out to make it entertaining, and like you said, sell entertainment along with the sport that we can connect to.
Of course. Yeah, we're going to have Brett on the show here shortly. He's going to dive into the media side of everything that he's working on with Major League Paintball Plus, and just making sure, cultivating a good show. We've been working on a really cool commercial. There's going to be hopefully more of that type of advertising for paintball on a broader scale as well, to drive people to their local fields and parks, and at the very least, just let people know that paintball as a sport has arrived on the scene, because to this very moment in time, mass public does not know paintball exists. So we still have a steep hill to climb in really making sure that we just broadcast our sport to the world, put it in the.
They don't know tournament paintball exists. A lot of people know about paintball, but tournament paintball.
That's correct. Yeah,
and we see that at SC, right? Because when you pull in, the tournament fields are first, the walk-on fields are further down. So a lot of times we see people walk up where it's like a cake in their hand, and you're like, oh man, you're on the wrong side. You know what I mean? But there's been dads that are there. They're like, man, this is really cool. Like, how do we get into this? So absolutely getting that. And again, it's just, there's the F1 shows and all these other Netflix specials that people have done that have really, like the Formula One thing. I've heard a ton of people talk about that show. So now it unfortunately sits with the powers that be on the NXL side to try to come up with that. And I think Maddie does a great job too, right? Is just how can we best tell our story?
Yeah. And I think for what we have coming up here, it will be on August 1st, which is a little under 2 weeks away, on that Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern time. Everybody, please tune in. It's going to be on ESPN2, I believe. And we'll have a hour-long show from 10 a.m. till 11 a.m. That's Eastern time. So that would be 7 a.m. to 8 a.m. out here on the West Coast. And it's a cool opportunity. I think that, working alongside a big company like ESPN, who is hungry for sports right now. I think we kind of talked about that behind the scenes before the show, but these big broadcasting channels, they need captivating sports. We have something with a built-in already following, a pretty big one at that. A lot of people, if they haven't played tournament, they know about paintball. They're going to be interested. They're going to want to watch, and we can just keep cultivating it. But I think, Mike, what you were talking about with like the lighting systems, I think that's going to be something in the future. Like you said, one of those timestamps where we see, I don't know if the black light will come into tournament paintball, but I wouldn't doubt it in the future, maybe 10 years down the line, just because of how cool it looks and how captivating it is to the eye. We're talking about entertainment. when you see that kind of stuff on the screen, the way that the paint looks, we've been trying to solve this problem of highlighting the paintball, right? Maybe it comes from
really
above.
Highlights the paintball, right? Like
That's
you get
right.
enough black light over the top of the field with enough, whatever the frequency it is, that it really lights the paint up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that's not where we're at for tournaments, but it's again something we can all do to connect with the community, because there's so many facets of our community, the mech community, the tournament speedball that we're used to, the walk-on guys. We don't have to run 20 on 20 and fast guns. We can do a million things under that black light, but absolutely getting the biggest names in the sport with the names that aren't the biggest names yet to all be able to be part of that community thing, right? So I think that's probably a really important, brand ambassadors, right? Ryan's out there pushing it for Core, HK's got yourself, Ronnie, guys like that. Having brand ambassadors out there better connecting to our customer base and giving them a reason to cross over.
Oh, without 100%. A doubt.
Hey, Ty, real quick, give us a little, take the hat off real quick. Did you do something to the hair? Ooh, I thought I saw that. I thought I saw a bleach top. You turned to the side and the blue light was like shining off the back of the hair. And I was like, this guy, he bleaches hair. He bleaches hair. He went Super Saiyan for ESPN. Hey, you guys saw it here first, PTG.
That's right.
Did you do that for the ESPN thing, or did you just have enough gray hair popping up that you finally just went full tilt?
Bro, I'm the silver wolf right now. I got so much gray hair. I said I got to do something, baby. It's getting kind of crazy. I was laughing with me and Mike Paxson were watching some paintball at the last tournament. He's like, man, you motherfucking salt and pepper over here. What's happening to you, buddy? I was like, God dang it, dude. I don't know. I'm getting old, man. I'm staring at 40s not too far away from me, and Mike, I'm just so damn grateful, dude. Honestly, I just to be here sitting with you in March and have the opportunities that we do to keep pressing forward with this sport that we all love. Couldn't ask for more. I just feel like one of the luckiest guys on the planet to be able to play this sport.
Likewise, man. I think it's a popular misconception with me, right? Like, I think people think like who Mike Hinman really is, and like I love the game, like I really. Conflict's not my best friend. You know what I mean? I'm not going to shy away from it. If you want to get disrespectful, I have no problem heading down that road with you. But like for me, I love the game. If you would have told all of us 20 years ago, this is where we're going to be, we'd be like, there's not a fucking chance, right? Not that we weren't going to be in the sport. So there was no doubt we were going to be here, but the road that we've taken to get to this moment. And then also you got to look 20 more years, hopefully, if God willing that we're all still here, that, it's just such a crazy journey, and the friends that we've lost and guys like that, like we just, we're blessed to be here, as my cat goes hunting in the window back there. But
we do it for them. We do it for the ones that are, always with us.
For everybody out there, right? Like the moments, I think Paintball Standard or whatever put a meme up, maybe it was them first, that was like, just an empty field that like when your friends are gone, you're not going to realize. And I think that's a really, if it was them, I know they shared it at one point. I saw it, but like, there's a lot of truth to that, like someday for some of us out there, this moment's going to pass us by and we're going to be thinking back on it. Don't be so caught up on the destination. Enjoy that journey, because it's really the most important part of paintball is the journey. And guys like all of us have been in a moment where it's a micro moment and you're so focused on a frustration with a teammate, a business partner, a friend, whoever it is. But then for all of us that have been here for 20 some years doing this, you step back and you look at the macro view of it and you're like, this too shall pass. And I think it's just important lessons, not even lessons, but just our life lessons that we've all been through, that if our friends out there can hear, you know what I mean? Like teams, divisional teams, shit breaks up, guys leave, people are super upset. And, a couple of years later, you're laughing about it. You know what I mean? Don't let a short-term goal derailment mess up a long-term goal, which is either to be champions or whatever your goals are in this sport. Just keep on the road. The road ain't always straight. 100%. Sometimes it goes left, right, but it still ends up in the place we want to get to.
More times than not, it is left, right, bumpy. And, it's about staying, like you said, staying positive, staying true to yourself, and just being the best that you can be for the people around you and for where you're headed. Mike, I love that, man. So let's talk about, we got the Unhinged podcast that's going to be dropping soon. When can we be expecting your show to happen?
We're recording it in the next week, the first episode, and we're going to get more. We put it out there, and then with Texas and we've just been so busy with the NXL and everything like that.
I
Wanted to
love
get
the
to a
name.
time period. I think once this WC's done, we have a lot of weeks of downtime, right? All of us do.
Yeah.
We have August is pretty down for all of us. It'll be coming out. And for us, it was more, we do live streams and like, talking points with myself, State of the League for WC, USXBL. Just more
Perfect.
something to bring it in. Obviously, those two platforms. And if we go into another platform next year, will be talked about a lot on there. But also, like we talked before the show, and even on the show, there's just a lot of things. Like I'm not beholding to anybody. I'm my own guy, right? The industry, they're not going to cut me off. So good luck with that. I've gotten big enough that I can't be silenced. And it's not even I'm not here to put people down, but just to be honest about things, like just to be totally transparent. And, like your guys' show, which is the one show that I'm very glad and proud to be a part of when you guys invite me on. I'm always really honest about things. And I think
that's why the
paintball,
people love you for that, man. We get many. Yeah.
It's one thing
comments.
people say back when I'm on your guys' show. They're like, we really appreciate you being honest and straightforward about things.
Yeah.
And I think, with a podcast, and it's not that I'm not trying to take over. I just see so much stuff on other podcasts where you're like, man, this just isn't the truth. You know what I mean? And like, there's also a lot of industry, I'm absolutely 100% not pointing this at you guys, but there's a lot of people that have sponsors, and like, how do you speak out against your sponsor? And it's like, it's not.
Welcome to PTG World, the ultimate paintball community where the game never stops and the vibes are always elite. Inside our Discord chat, you'll find nonstop action in rooms like the Players Chat, Gear Talk, PB Fashion, News, the Media Gang channel, and the exclusive Guest Questions channel where you get to ask our weekly podcast guests anything you want to be answered live on the PTG show. But it does not stop there. We also host monthly Goat Squad live hangouts for our GOAT tier members, packed with giveaways, laughs, and nonstop behind-the-scenes shenanigans. It is a full hour of community fire with the most amazing people who are locked in every day for the love of the game. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a seasoned pro, PTG World is your front row seat to the pulse of paintball. Click the orange Patreon link at ptgpodcast.com and join the party. Once again, that is ptgpodcast.com. Click the orange link and we will see you in the chat.
We can all point a finger at what's wrong and just be super negative with no how we make it better. You're just a person with a problem, and those kind of people suck. We all have problems. All of us in the world have problems. Those of us that have been successful find solutions. As quick as we realize the problem, our brain flips over to that solution quickly. You know what I mean? My car broke down. Well, look, I got enough money on a credit card to go rent one. I'll hook my trailer onto that, keep going to Texas. It's just what you got to do. And I think in our sport, there's a lot of problems that are pointed out, and people take shots and talk about things, and they just don't know anything. You know what I mean? Like, biggest thing people talk about, like, why can't we make our sport cheaper? Who else has made paintballs? There's the guys doing it. They have to be careful what they say. But people really believe HK. Every owner over there is a friend of mine, right? Like Marky and I message back and forth every week. We use them, or GI. You really think those people are making money making paint? I'm telling you. Again, love you guys, HK. You lost money every single event you sold paint for $20 a box. But listen, it was a marketing plan. I'm not putting them down for it. But then you go on these farms where there's hundreds of people. Why can't they sell paintballs for $10? Why doesn't the fucking U.S. government sell $20 bills for $7? Because they're $20, man. It's expensive sport. You know what I mean? And I just feel like there's so many things that need to be probably addressed at some point with people directly. And I think, like what you guys are doing is great. Like, you guys can connect directly to your customer base and our customer base, and they can have direct conversations with you. Whereas then, 15, 20 years ago, we would watch a 30 for 30 or a documentary, but we don't ever get to ask questions. Now we all have the ability on the chats to be able to hear what people say, and they can ask a question of us, and we can directly answer that question back. And I think knowledge is super important, right? I think, man, we're in an age, media-wise, where there is more lies and not true stuff out there than there is factual content, I believe. You know what I mean? You turn on the news, pick a side. Like, it's crazy.
Well,
you either love Trump or you hate Trump, but there is no middle ground on that.
Well, you gotta keep them confused. You know, you gotta like it's a tactic. It's a confusion tactic.
Get news, I go on like Al Jazeera English, which is like Arab European based, to hear what they have to say, because our media is so crazy. And I think in our sport, again, you guys have done a great job. Your numbers don't lie. Your numbers simply don't lie, right? But when we take you guys out of it, there's a lot of bias from people. And I believe the customers that I deal with every weekend, the real people that I shake hands with every weekend at the paintball field, that my wife does, my sons deal with, the people in my leagues, a lot of those people have questions sometimes. And I think having access directly to thousands of people that are also my customers, I think makes sense. You know what I mean? And being able to be honest about
without a doubt.
You know, like, I'll say what I have to say here. A lot of stuff was said about my friend Marcelo. And, you know, I was very public in having my friends back. And if people don't want to like me for that, sign me right the fuck up for that. Because at the end of the day, I've known that dude and his dad since he was knee high to a fucking leprechaun. And he's always been a good fucking dude. And when this shit broke, let me publicly fucking state this. I was on the phone with him Monday. I was messaging him, supporting him. I know one thing for a fact about Marcelo. That dude is not a fucking racist. Period. We have black friends, we have white friends, we have Mexican friends, we have everything friends. Marcelo don't even play games like that. Me, I say stuff that could get me canceled joking. Absolutely. Marcelo don't say that. So like the level, and you know, we're not gonna get too deep into it, but like this is the person I am, and there's things that need to be said publicly to other people. Like, and I also appreciate other people's difference of opinion. It's America. That we need difference of opinion. But, you know, just to be thrown under a bus and disregarded at the level that, like, people, it's scary how quick people can turn on somebody. That if I tell you what, you know, Tyler, your number's in here, Marcelo's number's in here, as your name. If I need to get a hold of Marcelo, I ain't waiting 3 days to get a hit back from him. It's within an hour, or whenever he gets to his phone, he's going to respond to me. We're all friends, and like the watching kind of the assassination attempt that was made at my friend's character, that bothers me. That really does bother me. And like a lot, I think we're all seeing now, same for Tom Cole, right? Tom goes on the Spick and Span show a lot. Tom has to have direct access to his customer base, because when people put him down, Tom's got to be able to not defend myself on every little stone that's thrown, but like at some point you got to stop and say, hey man, and if I get canceled because of it, cancel me right the fuck out. Don't show up to my events. I say it all the time. Don't come. Cool. Bye. If we can't, and again, I respect your difference of opinion. I had people saying they wanted me to ban Marcelo from my league. You are out of your, like, we're in America. And what's so crazy, I'm 45, by the way, so I'm a little ahead of you guys. What about our veterans that will openly say, we fought for the right for you to say some dumb shit, whoever you are. Like, you can say, as long as we're not saying, you know, I'm going to hurt Tyler or I'm going to hurt this person. Like, but your free speech gives you that. We've gotten so far away from that the second I don't agree with either of you, you're just a Nazi. You're a this, you're a that.
Yeah.
I don't, again, guys in my own business, we have different political views. We talk about it. At the end of it, I just say we agree to disagree, man. You know what I mean? Like, we'll see what the next election cycle brings. I try to keep it snarky, and we keep it moving. We're still friends. So I think
you gotta have some common ground, you know?
Yeah, and we also learn from each other. We also learn, like, it's good to sit in a room. I've said this. I would love to sit and have a beer with Obama, right? Like, I don't agree with everything that man has to say. I don't agree with all of his policies, but I think he'd be a good dude to just talk to, right? He seemed like an intelligent, well-spoken human being that might see things from a different point of view that I do. We're still looking at the same thing. We just see it from different points of view. And I think it's important to have those conversations, you know, and in our industry too. There's so much, you know, Tom Cole's making so much money at the NXL. Really? Do you know what it costs? Like, start counting the heads. Like, there's so many people at those events, like, that are working. I'm talking about. They move 3 semis worth of stuff in. It's just, I don't think they're making that much money. I really don't. And then they're also promoting paintball. So for me to be, and it's great to get on your guys' show and be able to talk about things. Like, you guys have never told me beforehand, we can't talk about this, or we are going to talk about this. We let it go. But I think it's important, same for you guys with your podcast, to be able to have an open channel to be honest and frank and a human being with people. And I don't challenge anybody. I hope somebody comes on and has a different point of view. You know, when you have one of those talks where you're like, might have been onto something. And a couple days later, you're still thinking about it. And you're like, that motherfucker was definitely onto something. I'm going to go find Tyler and go talk to him more about that, whatever that was. I'm just going to go, I want to learn, you know what I mean? And I hope in paintball, I hope all of us can be at a point where we're open at 45 or 55 or 75 or 15 or 5 to still learning, you know what I mean? And still understanding my community better, right? So that's Mike, a big part of it.
Like you said, you go to Al Jazeera to find your news, because the news in the US is so full of, honestly, it's full of hate. It's full of division. Totally. It's if you watch one channel, it is geared around making you hate people that watch the other channel. So there's so much political unrest in our country, and really, I think across the globe right now, because of the media, there's so much political unrest that people are like at their wits' ends, you know? And so like, while obviously, I'm upset with, you know, how a lot of people reacted to this whole thing. I also am like understanding. I'm like, dude, people are breaking right now across the globe. They're breaking for whatever reason, you know? And so like, right or wrong,
people that aren't as mentally tough as other people. I'm not putting them down. They just haven't. A lot of tough people have been through a lot of really bad situations that they had to learn from, and gave them the tools to be a little bit tougher, because life just played them some bad hands. Like you're saying, I had a family friend, 60-some years old, that committed suicide, agoraphobia, right? And was so afraid of what the news had been telling her. And again, I'm talking like she was a biker chick. Like, she's a tough human being, right? Like, been through some gnarly stuff in life and just had enough of it, wrote a note, went in her bathtub, popped herself, called it a day, you know? And like, there really are people breaking, and maybe it's not us, right? We see it differently. We have kids, we can't break, you know what I mean? But unfortunately, we are really divided, and I'm not saying our sport's super divided, but inevitably those influences from outside of our sport come into our sport. And if you voted for Harris and I voted for Trump, or whoever, vice versa, it doesn't matter who it is, now there's something different between us. Whereas in myself, I want to talk to you and I want to understand what you're thinking, because you're not wrong, right? Like, nobody has to be wrong. This isn't like a addition by subtraction game. This is like,
something led you to believe this. So I want to know what led you to believe this. Let's discuss it. Let's talk about facts and be open. Like, it's not my side versus your side. It's
because even like social media, we directly see what people are saying on social media. The problem is, if I don't like what you're saying, I just ban you, remove you, hide you. So now we are again limiting free speech instead of just having an open conversation and like not getting to DEFCON level fucking 5 and wanting to launch nukes on each other because we just disagree with one another. You know what I mean? So back to the podcast thing, like, I feel like there's a need. And, you know, our league, we have the second most players, and it's not even close. Like, I think if you added 3 and 4, they still don't come close to us, right? So we are number 2. We're okay being Pepsi behind Coke. We know what our business is on the regional level, but having direct access to our customers and being able to talk to them, you know, like USXBL, and same with WC Division 5, we've ran Race to 3. Shut Up, We're Trying owner Jerry, semi-pro team, also part of the Fit family. He goes, I really think we should move that to Race to 4, because if you get a bad call, whatever happens, like, the game's over. You know what I mean? And it was like, yeah, man, we put it to a poll in USXBL because we had direct action from a customer, from a friend, and we were able to have this open conversation. And the vast majority of teams were like, yeah, we'd like to move it to Race to 4. They get a little more paintball out of it. We're totally fine with that. But structurally, it made more sense, because in a Race to 3, you get a bad penalty. Let's say on our side, the ref makes a legitimately bad call. You lose that point and you're down a body for the next point, where you're in a Race to 3. You have one lost point. You lose it. You could go home. So for us, it was being able to have those open conversations with people really helps. You know what I mean? And like, you know, hearing on like how we got to webcasting every field or live streaming every field, because people, you know, there's the little gaps of time in the schedule, right? We can put 2 D5 sets up on the number 1 field. Well, people are like, why aren't I on it? And it's like, I don't know, Marcelo, because fucking APPA ran the schedule and that's who it was. It wasn't like Chris put his buddies on that field. It's just how that worked out. And they're like, well, we want to be on the live stream. So now you have these conversations where you're like, man, I could go hire a bunch of pro dudes to talk on my thing, or I could pay the money to live stream every field. And I have 5 hot spots that I pay Wi-Fi. I have more Wi-Fi in my house than I know what to do with, but because I can stream everything directly out, right? So being able to, the podcast thing and being able to have direct action with our customers and hear them in real time and make real time adjustments, I think is really important.
I mean, I love it. I can't wait to listen to your episodes. I know they're going to be great. I know the whole community is going to tune in. You're one of those voices of paintball
every
that people
couple
like
weeks and be consistent. Like if it's every 2 weeks we do one, I don't know if it's going to be every single week, but
Right.
just have a consistent flow. There's a lot of topics. I think when you start, I'm sure you guys would agree, there's topics you want to talk about right now, but just looking down the road. And for myself, industry, I've made paint. My dad and I were machinists. My dad worked at Dye when I was a kid. I run a ton of leagues. I run a field. I've built more pro talent than anybody else has. So there's so many different facets of the game that I can talk about. And I feel like that's kind of what has led me. And again, I really don't, when you guys call, I'm like, yeah, bro, I'm fucking there. You know what I mean?
We hit you late Sunday. It was like, hey, you down for an early Monday morning show? And he said, say less and be there.
You've never said no, Mike, and
I would stop
be
on the
something.
side of the road, flip up a Wi-Fi, and I'd be in the back, sitting there in my dually truck on the side of the I-10 freeway.
Fucking legend. Absolutely.
But I think it's important because I think, and even everything that happened with you guys, I think it's important for you guys to have this because, again, older brother talking to younger brothers, like your platform is so important because you guys are honest, and you guys are not, I'm not going to say fire and water or this and that, but like you guys both have different personalities, not right or wrong, but you guys have opposing views, different personalities, but you're both real and honest people. I mean, people can think Marcelo's not. He's about as fucking honest as it was. It cost him fucking a ton of money. I know exactly how much it cost you, right? Like, I know what it was. Marcelo's as honest and real as it comes. And we all know, Tyler, your soul's right here on your sleeve. Like, who you are is who you are. People always ask me, they're like, how's Tyler? Well, he's the same motherfucker. He wakes up, he's that dude. Cracker Barrel, he's that dude. Paintball field, he's that dude. In the swimming pool, he's that dude. I'm sure as a father, he's that dude. You know what I mean? So I think it's really important for our industry to have good people out there. And I'm not saying other people aren't good people, but I think you guys have done a really good job at sticking to the script, not getting some of the other shows, you see them just go completely out into fucking 180 around where it's kind of mindless blabble. But you guys have a really good job of sticking to topic and the script and hearing things and even disagreeing or agreeing or whatever it is. I think you guys have done a really good job. And like, I don't watch a lot of online stuff, but there's stuff you guys have had where I sit down and watch it. I'm just too busy to watch a lot, but like we're driving to Texas and like the Max Holloway one, some of your guys' other views, I watch them while I'm out on the road, 20 some hours driving, trying not to lose it. You know what I mean? But,
oh man, that's a mission.
Yeah, man, I think it's really important that our industry has these voices. Cause if not, and like my buddy, he's my friend, Scotty from Willball. He's got a point of view that he gets across, right, wrong, or indifferent. It's just, he comes from a little bit different place, right? He's more of a breaking news, TMZ, if you will. You guys can talk about whatever these here, earbuds are, you know what I mean? And like have an honest discussion about it that a lot of people, and I think connection, right? Like out of 100 people, how many do you guys connect with? I don't know what the numbers are, but I would say a vast majority of them feel what one of you two are saying. And I think that's important, right? Like it's important for our sport to draw people in and have them part of this community that you guys have. I'm part of it. And I think it's really important to have that. And I know for you guys, you're in the front of the road leading your way, but in all reality, you're part of this fabric of our sport. And it's so important to have, and again, the sport's bigger than any one of us. It goes on without us. We know that, but it's really important to have your guys's point of view because you've probably, I mean, in my opinion, you're the number one source for an honest podcast in our industry and our sport. And I think it's important, it's not one guy doing it, it's two guys doing it. So we can have left and right opinions. So
yeah, we got to lean into the questions, man, not run away from them and have open, honest conversations about things. That's the only way through, not deviating and moving to the side. You just got to go through.
And at some point you get to the end of it and it's just like, well, I disagree with this point of view, but I also disagree with it in a place that I respect you as my friend and my brother. And like, we're going to get past this, this too shall pass. And man, just keep on pumping, you know what I mean?
That's it. I can't wait. Can't wait for the Unhinged. If you ever need us, we'll be there at the drop of a dime too, Mike. You already know.
100%.
Got your
back.
back.
So Mike, two really hot topics right now, I guess, is format wise, moving to limited paint and 3-man. What are your opinions on both of those? Because those are the two things that it seem like are going to probably become a pretty prominent thing in our sport, especially if this ESPN thing goes well. So what do you think about 3-man and limited paint?
Well, short-term, long-term goals, right? Like, I don't know how our industry does it on the paint side. Listen, like, this is a fact. Maybe GI is making money at the NXL because they bring multiple trucks, but use myself. My factory was located in Southern California. I have 4 events for the NXL that are 3 time zones away: Florida, Ohio, Atlantic City, and then the 5th one, Texas, is halfway across the United States. To move the paint there to sell less than a truck, I know
not worth it.
I know 2 of the 4 companies, trying to be as politically correct about this as I can, do not send full trucks. One of the sponsors is sitting on this show right now. I'm not putting them down. They just don't sell a full truck. The problem you run into, the truck costs the same amount to get to the event, whether it's got 14 skids in it or 21 skids or whatever the max number is. So I could see that being a bit of a problem. It's not like the NXL numbers have been like this. Nobody's numbers, ours, nobody's are like that. So unless in a year or two you think we're going to have 5 times as many teams because of ESPN, which we will not, I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. For them to sell less paint,
let's talk about.
Hold on. Yeah. I don't think that's going to be for divisionals.
Exactly.
Just for you guys. For you guys, it could help because they give you guys free paint, so that could help them. The problem is, at some point, whatever happens up top is going to work its way down. 3-man, I think that's going to be an issue, right? For if it goes down to other divisions at some point. Where that becomes an issue is, like, look at the NXL's model. They build 7-8 fields, I believe. To do 3-man, even if you run a smaller field, it's more fields, it's more scoreboards, it's more tents. It's easier for them, like 10-man. It's one big field. You have 20 dudes playing 10 on 10, 20 at one time. Every time the buzzer goes off, 20 dudes are unleashing. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see it. But again, if you look at it from a format point of view, 3-man makes sense. 3-man Rage in the Cage in Vegas 20-some years ago is what they were pushing, was 3-man. Why? Because I think it's a lot easier to have a camera on each one of you 3, and the second somebody gets cracked, it's a lot easier to start tightening that down and to follow it. 5 on 5 in paintball, I've said this, I think the only way it can be done is post-production with some kind of a ring of cameras around the outside of the field where we can go back, and as Tyler's running and shooting, we're able to start clicking through all those cameras on that back line to actually see that one ball that makes it in, or maybe bounces off and hits this guy. It's just so much to track live. 3-on-3 makes more sense. So I think that part of it will be good. I just think anytime there's change, there's going to be pushback. Do you know what I'm saying? Sure. And of course, I think, but again, what do you guys do? If you go to play 3-man, you're going to play 3-man. I'm fucking and 2 with Tyler.
I think, I think there's the cool thing about paintball is there's so many different ways that we can play it. And I personally would hope to see someday that we have 10v10s back as well. I want to run my 10 against your best 10 and see big fields, big moves. Obviously, it's harder to track for TV with that many players out there. I think for what we're trying to accomplish on this little mission at hand is going to make it palatable for the layman that's going to be watching on television. A lot easier to track and keep eyes on those 6 players as opposed to 10. But I don't think that, and same with a lot of other sports, what the guys do at the pro level doesn't have to be what the divisional players, and I don't want the divisional players to be pigeonholed into doing what we do. I think that they can shoot as much paint and have as many bodies and play whatever formats, but just know that if we're trying to package something and get something distributed in a palatable way for a viewer, because really that's what our battle is getting this thing to fit inside of this screen and have eyes watch it and understand what's going on. I think that 3v3 has a good shot at doing that. I'm very curious as well. I don't know the way things are going to go or pretend to at all, but I am curious to see how it looks. I'm curious to see how things develop. And, it could be a subsidiary of what I hope will continue to be the main and the
Uh-oh. We
Froze
lose our
up
boy.
with his eyes half open.
Oh no. Yeah, but I always back.
Sorry,
You froze
guys.
up for a second.
Sorry. Yeah, my
were like
internet
this.
went too.
And froze again. No,
Yeah.
I think the 3-on-3, don't get me wrong, it could be good. The
Right.
limited paint, I played the 80 Astra event a couple years ago, 5 years ago, that Meter did at Fit, and we used 4 pods of that. I honestly thought, and the layout was a good layout, but I felt it could have been a more aggressive layout. It was kind of open in the center. And when I first pulled up Mike and initial reaction, start box looking down this field, I was like, man, there's going to be some points where, like, me and Tyler are going to be playing ring around the rosy, shaking our hopper, trying to get the 1 or 2 last balls to get in there and hit one of us, or picking it off the ground or whatever it was. All honesty, we never had a point where anybody ran out of paint. Like, everybody knew you had 4 clips on your back. You knew what you had to go do.
It just kind of gets rid of that like stale middle part of the point, which I appreciate. I like that part of the point as well, but it just kind of shortens the time it takes to get from the start of the point to the closing part of the point.
Yeah, to the action, right? To the bodies are moving, the guys trading out, great snapshots being made. I don't think it's a bad thing. I just inevitably I do see it getting to a point, and paint's so cheap, right? Like, maybe where other people live, it's not, but like in Arizona or here, Vegas, it's so cheap. If we start selling less paint, I could see somebody on the food chain is going to have an issue with that.
Of course.
Yeah. Agreed.
So
agreed.
Well, and again, the next part, like Tyler was saying, yes, 3-on-3 is a great way to package it up. It's been said, listen, from a guy that's been around for a long time, 3-on-3 has been said that would probably be the format, something like that. A heavily mutated version of what we're used to. Now we're seeing that. We've seen this coming. The interesting part is going to be, once we package that up and we put this in the program and we get it out there, do the metrics show that we're now bringing more people into the sport? There'll inevitably be more eyes on the sport, no doubt about that. But does that translate to more people into the sport?
Does that 17,000 number move up to 18, 19,000,
Well, now the number's got to start moving up a whole lot.
Right.
And then also you're going to have to figure out a way to somehow channel money up through the division. For WC, if we all of a sudden go to 200 teams because ESPN is on, now Tom and them can say to me, like, Mike, by us doing this, we're helping you out. I'm the kind of human being that would absolutely funnel money up the pipeline to help them back out. We're all working together, and you're not going to come compete with me at a regional level, and I'm not competing with you at a national level, and you're exposing our sport, and we're growing the pie, the old pie analogy. Now we're doubling the size of it. So my 50% now doubles because it's just a bigger 50% pie. I think there's a lot of good data in there, and I think we can all work together. I think it's going to take a while for us to see, are we seeing that, Gio at SC Village is the master of marketing. I think many people, they bring him in to talk at core events and stuff because his marketing is top level. Right now, talking to him, we're seeing a drop in numbers. Their private SC Village had a ton of private groups on Sunday, 30, 40 groups or something. It was crazy. But they're seeing, like, at Hollywood Sports, they're seeing a drop. Could that be because there's other civil unrest happening in these areas? Is it because the economy's down? Does all of a sudden he see a 30% spike with no more marketing that we can attribute to this being on ESPN? We will see. You know what I mean? I think the marketing, them doing it, local, regional level fields are going to have to be able to tie into that. Do you know what I'm saying? And be like, hey, this is paintball. We're doing this here down the street from your house. Come up to Velocity Paintball in Ramona. Come check us out, which is where I met Marcelo. We're going to have to be able to have that kind of, and it's going to probably take HK and Core and everybody working together on one combined website to help drive traffic back out, right? But an interesting part of that is you talk to, like, both X Factor and Giant Fit too. Everybody's using a lot of, like, Facebook marketing, right? You say paintball next to that microphone, they geolocate you, you're in this area. I'm out at Giant, and all of a sudden there's groups popping up on my Facebook account left and right for their field. And I talked to Billy Sharansky about it, obviously CEO of Core also. He said they're seeing like a 13-to-1 ROI for every dollar they put in. They're seeing $13 come back on marketing through Facebook and stuff like that. So while ESPN is great, there is other marketing routes that people can take. And, whether it's HK, whether it's Core, I think a lot of these companies are willing to truly assist their customers and the customers of the sport if you're willing to reach out and listen to them,
You're so right, man. There's so many different avenues that you can advertise through that are bigger than television,
direct,
even.
Right? We're knowing okay, our customer is a 21-year-old male,
Yeah.
They know that if that microphone on your phone is open, Facebook and Instagram are constantly getting data from you. Like I said, I say paintball a couple times. There's going to be paintball. SC Village is going to be on my sponsored ads. You know what I mean? But
wait, your phone
13-to-1 marketing. That's pretty crazy, right? Because now you take a guy like Rafi at Battlezone. If he puts $1,000 in, he sees $13,000 in private groups come back.
Yeah,
that's pretty good. You know what I mean? Now I'm gonna put 10 grand in so I can see $130 come back. Like that's how our sports got to be thinking. So yes, there's many paths. Hopefully this does well, and hopefully it does well for you guys too, right? And the industry as a whole. Where we're at and where we need to be, there's a lot of distance to cover, and I just don't know at what speed we're going to make that, right? Like, there's a lot of hope and hype on what is happening, and it's going to be good no matter what. No negativity, but does it direct, like Huntington Beach did not always mean Camp Pendleton and SC Village got a ton of private groups a month later.
Sure.
And that was a big venue, right?
Yeah. I don't think that did anything to bring new players. Well, maybe did something to bring new players in, but that was more one of those retention things, in my opinion. It was like the people that were already tournament players. They're like, oh, that's fucking really cool. Every year we want to get a team together and go compete in Huntington Beach or something like that,
Absolutely. And if we're talking about tournament paintball, I know what it's cost. We know the numbers behind. I'm not saying this ESPN, but some of the other ESPN deals, it's 6 figures, right? So now you start to ask, was that the best way to spend it? Right. Or is it just to go buy 80 new airball fields and distribute them across the United States? Because that's what tournament players need. Would that have... There's just a lot of ways to do it, So hopefully it goes 100%. Well for them. Hopefully it looks, that Friday I'll be at WC, so I won't be directly tuning in, but I'm sure we'll probably put a TV up by registration and kick it like a 55-inch screen or something up there and kick it on. So we're doing our part as well. Like, I'm completely behind what everybody else is doing. The only thing I'm not behind on the tournament side is bad business people. Right? Like, I'm not behind that. And I'm not throwing direct stones at the NXL. As good business people, but like there's a lot of regional and local leagues that are just squeezing their players, and not telling you how to do your business, but I'm pretty sure that's how not to do your business. You know what I mean? Like, it's an expensive sport. When you put, like, for us, we never put profit over product, right? When Alicia from our reffing staff is like, hey, I think we need a couple more refs. Yep, cool. Here's the credit card, fly them in. You know what I mean? Like, Marcelo, you've been there. I think we have a pretty good reffing staff. You know what I mean? But like when you're like, I could go with 7 refs or 8 refs, not 10 or 11 refs. Man,
cutting corners, get into trouble.
Real bad trouble.
Well, shit, Mike, we've actually already covered so many of the Discord questions, but we do have a few, if you don't mind us hopping in and asking some.
I'll answer all of them.
Yeah, of course. This one is great, by Alexander Reaper, number 9. He says, what's your best advice to someone who's 37, super hungry, and getting into divisional paintball?
You got to stick with it, man. Like, I don't think age is a big issue for you, first of all. I hear people talking age. I have a good friend of mine, Will Weems, is an older guy. Not older like me old, but he's in amazing shape. Can keep playing this game like Archie. People keep talking like Archie's going to retire in the next year or two. If Archie retires in the next year, it's just because he's done playing paintball. Physically, Archie could be doing this for the next 15 years. You know what I mean? Yeah. So for all the guys that are 20s and 30s and maybe even up to low 40s or 40s, age is just a number. Like, as long as you can physically still do it, and you're in the gym putting the time in, trust me, you have an advantage on some of the younger players is you probably have more life experience, and with that comes a little more IQ, right? So don't give up on it. I think you got to be extreme. Like when these guys were kids, I have a kid, Evan Middleton, that's on the collision team. He lives in Sacramento. He's outing every weekend. Great human being, great family.
One of the best.
Like, we got paintball on Sunday? And it's like, kid, you're in Sacramento. Like, stay the and his mom and dad and little brothers down there at the field with us. They drive down for one day of paintball to drive, what is that, 400 or 500 miles each way.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe some people can't do that, but that's the level of extreme wrecking crew guys that you coach. They go down to
Mm-hmm.
Florida all the time. They're from New York area, right? They're up in that
Mm-hmm.
area. They know to get good reps, they got to go down and get in with damage, legacy paintball or whatever. There's a lot of teams down there playing. Maybe they
Yep.
don't have that in their area. So these young men and a lot of teams put a lot of effort in to being the one percenters. And I think you have to do that, right? I think if you're a divisional guy, you got to take a look around. You make a commitment, make it through the year, but at some point you got to start looking around at what camps can teach me. You know what I mean? Like San Antonio, Jesse Stevens is doing a great job with the Gunners organization. I believe they have 3 or 4 teams. Jesse's out there every Wednesday night doing drills with them, weekends doing practice with them. A lot of knowledge coming up real quick in that area. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're in an area where you have good programs and pro level guys attached to it, I hear that a lot, right? Like where people are going next year. And I'm going to go to this team or this team. And you ask why. And they're like, well, they have pro level talent around them that can teach me quickly. So I think those are things you got to probably look at, Alex.
Yeah.
Love that.
Great answer.
Yeah. Shout out to the chat. Thank you, everybody sounding off in here.
Any questions in there, please?
Oh yeah, I got a couple of them here. We got if I don't ask, then did it hurt paintball? Will prosecute me in here. And thank you to everybody who supports PTG out there. We love you. If you want to join in on the chat, you can go to the website at ptgpodcast.com. Check out the Patreon link. It's the orange link there, and hop in here. He says, Mike, what player that you highly respect was the biggest and most irritating player to play against when you played?
Irritating.
Yeah, just like always a thorn in the side when you'd play against them.
That's a good question. I mean, we played coming up, Dynasty guys were always around a lot. Like, tough question because I don't think anybody could get inside my helmet like that. Like, nobody like ever tried to punish me extensively because I think they knew where that would lead to. And I'm just being honest, right? Like,
yeah,
so
no, without a doubt.
Be real. Like both you guys know that have played for me. I try to be friends with everybody. I really do. Like I try to be cool with everybody. Coming up when the Iron Kids came onto the scene out here in Southern California or in California, but like the term is, and I think the closest term you could use back in the 10-man days in the bushes, it was very slow paintball. Very slow. Like there was a way we did it, right? And it was very slow. Go to these bunkers, shoot all your paint, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. And the term from World War II is blitzkrieg, right? Lightning warfare. And the Iron Kids showed up on the scene and they knew we were going to lose. You were not winning 10 up. They knew that. But they threw so many bodies so quick at you that back then the players were so slow. They didn't know what to do. The first event, like Vegas, it was in the bushes. I'm talking like creek bed bushes. There's like little holes. And all of a sudden, you see a dude run through, you're with an autococker, you miss, and all of a sudden 3 more dudes are behind him. And you're like, what the like,
where are they going?
Like they are coming. And that was probably, and I wouldn't say it was irritating. It was just eye-opening. Like you come home from that event and these dudes just stomp everybody out. And you're like, man, like none of us realized that we were all about to change to that style of paintball. We just didn't know it. Like we didn't catch the memo yet. So I think that was probably a bit frustrating. There's a lot of the Aftermath kids were frustrating to play against because they were such great paintball players, right? Like they had a coach like me that was so rough on them. Like if mistakes were not rewarded, you know what I mean? Like there was one way, the right way, and that was it. So even playing against my own students became tougher because the students quickly evolved and they were able to beat Dynasty at practices. They were able to beat other pro teams, even in the Divisional 4 as they moved up to semi-pro and pro. That was a bit because you take kids that were just beginner level players in the tournament scene and how quickly and how talented that class was, right? I say this now, like I was talking to Willie, was out at the field this weekend. He's one of the original Aftermath kids. And I just said to him, I said, every year that goes forward in my life, I look back at like the group of men that we had. And like the NFL had a quarterback class where, Elway, Montana, they all came out, Marino, they were all in one class. And it was the most craziest class of quarterbacks ever. That group of kids that we had, will never be beat, I don't think, right? Like it's just they're Dalton and you and all you guys. Like there's just so many, and the further away we get from it and the more players we see cycle through, we have more context to look at it and be like, man, that was just like we picked all the local talent that we could in California and built truly a beast, you know what I mean? So but frustrating, like I don't mind losing to anybody. Like that never, I'm never gonna say we played bad, you played good. Like it's respect in the game, you know what I mean? I don't take away from other people. So for me, I never really got frustrated about it. I just always internalized really quickly on how we can be better.
Love that.
Amen. Amen. All right, this is from CB2K Macroline Gang. Mike, hot question incoming. Who in paintball would get caught Coldplay concert style?
Not me.
That's right.
Me.
That is the right answer.
Anybody seen Tracy's hands? I want no part of it. You know what I mean? No, I mean, I'm sure there's people that choose to live like that. Not me.
That was crazy.
Not Marcelo,
that was crazy.
Not Tyler.
No,
that was crazy.
That was
crazy. I mean, oh man, that is a global thing. Like, wild. I mean, that's like one of the biggest things that I've seen in a long time. They just caught like fire. What's wild too is if they didn't react like that, it probably never would have become anything. It was like
their reaction it blew it up. But
yeah, but like that's what they deserve, you know.
Absolutely.
Like
my heart is life. Like, listen, I'm 45 now. We've all done our things. I know one thing, like my wife's my best friend, dude. Like there is no world. I don't care if 100 of them line up outside the door. There is no chance. That's just not. No. I have a best friend, you know what I mean? My road dog. Like that's crazy. Like that's
crazy, bro. And
crazy.
Yeah, the way that they reacted, just trying to hide and stuff, is like, no, man.
And the internet just found him so quick. It's just
and rightfully so. Though
justice,
the dude's got a beautiful wife at home from all the pictures. Kids. 3 young kids.
Oh, it's crazy.
Like your own personal needs.
Well,
like
and her too.
What's that?
And her too. Yeah. She had a husband.
Your own personal desire is more than what your kids need. Like kids need a mom and a dad. Listen to me. Like you need a mom and a dad as much as possible. You know what I mean? So to put yourself in that position, and those people are clearly wealthy, you're just selfish human beings. So, you know, you're going to reap what you sow.
Amen.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's wild stuff. All right, let's see. All right, this is a cool one. Dilly Kills. Hey, Mike, what is your favorite old school marker and maybe a marker from today, but specifically the old school markers? And is there any gems in your collection that you still have?
I don't have many gems left. Another thing about me, I've been given so much paintball gear in my life and I've never saved anything. I've never been paid $1 to coach. I never take any money, and any product I've ever been given, I give to all the OGs here in Southern California. Damn. Probably been given 50 plus guns. I've given every one of them away in Southern California. I never saved any of it. I wish I had saved more. The amount of dinners I bought Dynasty that I could have taken everybody's jersey every tournament and had my retirement laid out. You know what I mean? But none of us realized back then how important that stuff was. You know what I mean? Like we just didn't realize it, right? Like same with Aftermath. If we would have known, Marcelo, we would have all kept so many of those jerseys and had everybody sign them. They'd be worth $1,000 easily.
Dude, right? Mike, I just found I think I only had like 2 ever of the Aftermath jersey, and I just finally got that jersey. I'm so stoked to have that.
Totally. And we just didn't realize back then how important it was. So I don't have a lot of that. My coolest probably, which wasn't old school guns, the Predator autococker, not even a question. Like in Southern California, Todd Martinez, I'm pretty sure I'm never going to sue him for this, but when I have like that CTE brain issue later in life, I'm sure it was from Todd Martinez. He had a black Predator autococker that shot marbleizers, and like my size 8 Jack in the Box skull is so knotted up from that dude just destroying me at the original Camp Pendleton. So there's the Predator autococker, but my Shock Tech Intimidator was retarded. Like it. Once I found out about that debounce 0 thing, game over. 22 balls a second everywhere I went. You know what I mean? I do have one cool gun up in my closet. short story. When Bryce was born, my oldest son, he was induced 3 days before I go to the event. My soul's not there. I think we win the event, but I'm back home. My first child's ever born, right? And
Yeah.
I'm a dad. I'll always be a dad first. Like my son is my life. Both my sons, right?
Yeah.
And my Dynasty Auto shocker, the little jewel on the side had fallen off, and I had an Allen wrench, and I carved Bryce into the side of it.
Yo.
Todd Martinez later strips it, reanodizes it money green, calls it the money maker. Bryce Hinman. It still got the Bryce, like,
Damn.
with an Allen wrench on a rounded surface. I did a pretty good job with it. Totally forget about the gun. Their mom and I get divorced, and she sold everything I had. I didn't think about all my jerseys and stuff, right? It was such a abrupt ending to a marriage that I just left and never really got a lot back, right? So I never thought about the gun. So 6-7 years ago, somebody sends me a link on Facebook. Jordan is his name. He's one of the Techno Kitty guys. He sends me this link to the Moneymaker gun. And all of a sudden, like, the light bulb turns on, and I'm like, that's, again, I'm never going to use that gun again. It's a piece of history for me with my son. And somebody had it, and they were selling it a couple $100 or whatever. And I messaged him. I was like, I'll pay you whatever you want. Do not sell it to anyone else. I'll give you, the dude could have said 10 bands, and I'd have been like, yeah, you cash gold. I'll send it to you right now. Guy gave it to me for free, sent it to me, and it's still up in my closet. So that's the one gun. And then Brandon Unger gave me one of his Seattle Thunder shockers when he went to that team out of a sign of respect. I still have that. Nice. But those are probably the two pieces, because again, we just never realized, even the proto guns we had or these aftermath guns, we just never realized that the time would end. We always thought there would be more coming. So I just didn't hold on to valuable things, right?
Man, those are epic stories, dude. That's
100%.
crazy.
That the gun story is amazing.
I could not believe it. I still, and the guy, Jordan, stopped playing, but I think about him often. I check on his page because it's like, man, he sent me that link.
Thank you.
I was at ATX. I was working like night shift at my own company, and I'm up in the office by myself, like getting this guy's phone number. Like, yo, anything. I'll fly to your house and get that gun. So it's it's sitting up in my closet right now, and someday I'll put it in a box and shadow box it or whatever. I have some other shadow box. I have like a fish jersey over here that I got to hang up, and some other ones. I have a lot of
RIP.
Marcelo. I don't have one of yours. I have a lot of your guys' jerseys, but at some point I'm going to hang up all of the fucking disciples on the fucking House of Hinge.
You've got none of my jerseys?
I've never asked you for one.
That's fucking unacceptable.
I'm bringing you. When you're selling jerseys, I'm almost going to jump in the comments and be like, 281-330-8004. Hit your send me one.
I mean, Mike, which one do you want?
Just any of them. I want one of all of the guys.
Yeah, we'll talk off air. I want to know which one would be most, because I honestly have one from every team still. So you get,
doesn't matter which team.
Selection.
It's just the human being. I want the human being's name on my wall.
Yeah.
All you guys, Tyler, like I'm gonna have a huge wall in my house with everybody that came through the camp. Because when people ask, like, did this person come from Aftermath or this person? There's so many names that like I'm gonna put them.
That'd
all
be
up.
sick. That'd be sick. That's talk about a squad. All right, Hinge. My last question from the Discord is from Osborne for this, and he wants to know, Mike, a wealthy fan of paintball wants to put on a one-off event and wants you to run it in the location of your choosing. What location are you picking, and what's the format?
Well, I mean, if it's a one-off event, you're probably going to want the pro guys there. So we're doing that. I think you're running 5-on-5. If you want to go a little old school, obviously you add the X. I have a ton of them. I donated the one to the Dynasty game that they had. So I think you do that. I mean, if any location wealthy, clearly Huntington Beach, you got to go there, right? We got to be back on the beach. Got to hear the waves crashing.
It's the best, man.
Smell of the beach. You know what I mean? I think it would have to be there. And I think X-Ball, I think the fans would appreciate X-Ball a little more. You could do 7-man, but I think X-Ball is a little more ingrained in our souls these days. So I think I would do that, is how I would do it. I think, rest in peace to Tim. He did a great job bringing back 10-man. Nobody's been able to duplicate what he did, the magic he did, and all the guys at Lux, Russell, and all those guys that helped Tim behind the scenes, because Tim was the face of it, but there was a lot of help he had behind him. Moorhead, all those guys, all his brothers from over there. So I think you could do something 10-man-ish. I think there's a lot of legends that would be cool. The guys that I grew up, the the Shock, Gary Noblet, and all those guys, Spud and Danny Love and Stransky and Poopy and all those guys together, Ren. I think it'd be cool to see that, but I just don't know if the modern people would appreciate the old school guys and what that 10-man format was all about. So I think you probably go X-Ball on Huntington Beach.
Yeah, I would love to see the 10v10 with all the OGs paying homage to the past. And because, I mean, without those guys, they're the front runners, you know, including yourself, Mike. You know, like there's so many of you guys that have paved the way for modern paintball to be played and to be in one of the best positions it could possibly be, in my opinion. You know, a lot of people love paintball right now.
There's a lot of great guys from back then, right? And it's crazy. You see them, like, some of them are still around, you know, like Manny Francia that used to play with Aftershock. He's playing divisional paintball at the NXL level. Every time I see that dude, I'm like, that guy's a legend. You know what I mean? Like, people don't Lasoya, everybody like that. You know what I mean? So, and
we got to make sure they live on forever.
We don't have a lot of media from back then. Like, we have the Trauma Head videos. Shout out to Trauma Head. You know, Dirter was more into the X-Ball, but like the old 10-man stuff, Push, right? We have some video, but we just don't have the amount of content that we have now. So I just feel like, you know, the old school 10-man is kind of like Metallica with the original bassist Cliff Burton or Dave Mustaine on guitars. You just don't have any content from those guys. Now you have all the new stuff, and that's what we focus on. But there'd be a lot of cool stuff. But I think Huntington Beach, I think X-Ball, I think an open event, let everybody come throw down. By the end of the day, it's going to be the big dogs on Sunday out there fighting it out. But I think that would be the place. Just, again, that person would need a lot of zeros left-hand side of the decimal in their bank account to make that happen. It's an expensive venue.
Yeah, if you haven't, go check out Push. If you've never heard of it, never seen the movie, definitely look into that. Pay homage to the greats of the past that have helped pave the way for paintball. And Mike, thank you for everything that you continuously do in the game, man.
Definitely. I love being a part of it. I love being part of the community. You know, it's been a long road, and I'm thankful to be here. Every morning I wake up, I'm pretty stoked about it, you know, and lucky to be older now, you know, and understand the journey part of it and not the destination part of it, you know. Like, it's the journey for all of us is so important. Because when all of you out there that are maybe a step or two further away from the sport than you would like to be, once you step a step or two closer, you feel a lot better. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes we got to get life right? There's so many facets of life we got to get lined up to make it shine. But the facet of paintball is going to be a northern star in all of our lives, probably for forever. So I think it's just important. You know, I hear people say, like, I'm quitting, I'm getting away, and I'm the first one to comment. You'll
see
be
you
back.
soon.
You'll be back. Don't sell anything important, because like, you'll be back. A gun, you can always get a new gun, but like the headband, whatever it is, save that stuff. And man, I'm super stoked to be part of it. Plan on keep doing it, and as we all get older, is find out how to do it better and grow. You know, like, our goal with the USXBL and WCPPL is to be everywhere. So we're going to continue to expand into other regions and grow our footprint and help our, not even our sponsors, but our friends. Like, for me, every company that I work with as a friend is being able to help promote their product from shoreline to shoreline, you know, and hopefully we can help the NXL, you know, like, everybody's got to do their part to, you know, if one team, two teams, continue to get guys to that level. So I think we all got our little gear in the clock that's got to spin flawlessly for that Rolex not to tick. You know what I mean? And we got to keep running. So I'm glad to be on the show, man. Hit me up, boys.
Dude, we love you,
Mike.
Mike.
Love being on the show. I love you guys. I'm proud of you guys. I'm glad you guys are back on.
You too, bro.
Paintball needs you guys as much as it needs anybody else. Remember that when you go to bed tonight, like, you put your heads on that pillow, like, you are a big part of this community. And like, I'm very glad we got 300 forward going, and we didn't let this train get derailed from nonsense. You know what I mean?
Straight up.
Love both you guys, and I'll definitely see you guys soon, dude.
Yeah, it's got, and like you said, it's got to be symbiotic. Everybody keep working hard together. If you're heading out to Dub C, safe travels out there, and everybody have a great time at the tournament.
Definitely. Later, boys.
All right, later, Mike. Peace.
All right, everybody. Thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to the show. We appreciate your support more than you know. As you guys heard about midway through the episode, if you guys would like to support PTG in any way, you could head over to ptgpaintball.com. You could click the orange Patreon link and sign up at any level and get access to our Discord. The Discord is one of the most phenomenal communities in the game of paintball. We have so many different channels in there. It's great for learning. It's great for connecting, finding teams, selling equipment, whatever it is you want to do in there. We truly have it all, and we hope to see you in there. So again, head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the orange Patreon link, and we will see you in there.